The federal EV tax credit is dead. $7,500 and gone since September last year. Everyone assumes that means the deal is over. 6 Northeast states didn't get the memo. They're still paying buyers thousands of dollars to go electric. But there's a catch nobody talks about. The same states handing out the money are also the hardest places in America to actually own an EV. Cold doesn't care about your range estimate. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which EV survives a Boston winter, which state pays you the most to buy one, and which combination is the smartest move in the entire Northeast. Here's what the ads don't tell you. A ran the numbers in 2026, testing real EVs at 20 degrees Fahrenheit with the heat running the way you'd actually use it. The result? A 39% drop in range, not 10%, not 15, 39. That's a car rated for 300 miles suddenly giving you 180. And it's not just range, it's cost. I found charging at home in the cold ads about $32 per 1,000 miles. Charge in public instead. And that number jumps to $77 per 1,000 miles. So before you even think about which state pays the best rebate, you need to know this. In the Northeast, the car matters more than the money. Buy the wrong EV here, and no rebate makes up for standing at a charger in a parking lot at 9 degrees, watching the percentage barely move. Not every EV loses range the same way. The difference comes down to one part. The heat pump. Cars with a heat pump retain about 83% of their range in freezing conditions. Cars without one, using older resistive heaters, retain closer to 75%. That 8-point gap is the difference between making it home and calling for a tow. Tesla has consistently led winter range testing, largely because of its thermal management system, which routes heat between the battery, the cabin, and the motor, instead of pulling raw energy straight from the pack. Hyundai and Kia's newer heat pump systems perform close behind, using waste heat recovered from the motor and inverter to cut winter energy use by over 20% compared to their older systems. So if you're shopping in a Northeast winter, the question isn't how many miles does it say on the sticker. The question is, does it have a heat pump? And does the automaker actually engineer for cold, or bolt one on as an afterthought? Now here's where it gets interesting. The federal credit disappeared. These states didn't wait for Washington to fix that. New Jersey. Up to $4,000 through Charge Up New Jersey, plus a full sales tax exemption. On a $40,000 EV, that tax break alone saves you over $2,600. Combine both, and New Jersey is quietly one of the best states in the country to buy electric right now. Vermont. Up to $5,000 through Drive Electric Vermont, with additional money layered on for lower income and rural residents. Vermont isn't just paying you to buy the car. It's one of the few states where the incentive scales specifically for the people who need it most. Massachusetts. The More EV program pays up to $3,500, and income-qualified buyers can stack an extra $1,500 on top. That's up to $5,000 total in a state that also happens to have one of the densest charging networks in the Northeast. Connecticut. Cheaper starts at a modest $1,000, but the income-qualified rebate plus tier jumps to $4,000 for a new EV, or $5,000 for a used one. Maine. Up to $2,000 through Efficiency Maine. Smaller than its neighbors, but paired with some of the coldest average temperatures in the region, which loops us right back to Section 2. In Maine, the car you choose matters more than almost anywhere else on this list. New York. Up to $2,000 through the Drive Clean rebate. The smallest check on this list, but New York backs it up with Charge Ready NY, one of the most aggressive charging infrastructure build-outs in the country, especially for apartment and workplace charging. Stack any of these with a utility charger rebate, and you're often looking at several thousand more dollars before you've driven a single mile. So which car actually wins in this region? It depends on what you're optimizing for. Best all-around cold weather EV, the Tesla Model Y. Strong winter range retention, the fastest growing fast charging network in the region, and thermal management that's been refined over a decade of real winter data. Best value pick, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Kia EV6, slightly behind Tesla in raw cold weather range, but faster charging recovery in freezing temperatures and a heat pump system that's genuinely competitive at a lower price point. Best for New Jersey and Massachusetts buyers specifically. Almost anything with a heat pump, because the incentive math in those two states is strong enough to offset a wider range of vehicle choices. Best for Maine and Vermont buyers, prioritize the heat pump over the price tag. In sub-20 degree conditions, the gap between a well-engineered thermal system and a bolted-on one isn't an inconvenience. It's the difference between a normal commute and a bad afternoon. There's no single best EV for the Northeast. There's a best EV for your state, your winter, and your budget, and now you know how to find it. Here's the real question. Is your state's rebate big enough to make up for what winter takes back in range? Comment your state below. I'll tell you the single best EV for your exact winter and your exact incentive stack. If this saved you from buying the wrong EV for your climate, subscribe. Next week, the Midwest states nobody talks about and the EV that outperforms every Tesla in a polar vortex.